Hi everyone, my name's Anne-Marie. Welcome to our paper crafting tutorial for card making for FabScraps. This is the first one for FabScraps and I'm really excited. We're going to be using the collection called Free Spirit in this card making project. So please check out the actual overview that I've just created for the entire collection of Free Spirit. And then you'll see the items that I'm using and you'll get an idea and feel of the range as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to do it in our normal format. Everything I use I shall put in a detailed list on my blog, so please be sure to check that out. If there's any items that I use extra, I shall put them on there as well. I think you are really going to love the FabScraps range, and I just hope you can find a stockist that's near you. Or as I say, contact them directly, use my name as reference. I'll put the information in the description box below and on my blog. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to need is our base card. Now this is an 8x8 card. It's a large size card. It's the largest size of card. Well, it's not the largest size anymore because people have started doing the 10x8s and the 9x9s. But at the moment it's the largest size I do. And I think it's a good size. It's a good large size. It's going to stand proud, put it that way. Now, as always, because for whoever or whatever I'm creating, I am always going to score the seam of the card to make sure that is a nice sharp score along the edge, because when it's stood up on that mantelpiece it wants to stand proud. So the first thing we're going to do is the inside of our card. So for any of my normal viewers and friends across the pond or around the world, we always do the insides of our cards, and FabScraps is no exception. We're going to carry on and we're going to do insides and outsides for every card project that we do. So the first thing that I've created for the base of the card is a smaller square of paper. Now this is from the 8x8 coordinated paper from FabScraps. I know it's got a pattern on the back of it and some people are going to be saying, oh, it's sacrilege to cover it up, but because you get so many different items through the collection, then I think we can manage to cover up the pattern on this. So there I've added the base square. Now what I've also done is I've taken as the paper called As Time Goes By, and I've cut 2 of the pink striped border strips from it, and I'm going to simply add them to my base paper. I'm going to trim them to fit. There we go. So I'm also going to do the same for the top of the card. Now I'm just going to turn it round so I can see. So I'm going to add this again along the edge. The trims that I've cut for this border trim is roughly 1/2 inch. Now there is a reason for it, and I think if I trim it roughly about there, because what I've done is I've taken one of the papers from the range, and it's the wreath, I was going to say the wreaths, it's called As Time Goes By. On the back of it it's got the border leaves, and I've taken 2 of them, I've cut them out, and then I've taken them through the Xyron machine, and what I'm going to do is peel them away from the carrier, and then I'm going to add them to the bottom of the card like so. Now you see how the pink stripe just breaks up that yellow between the border strip and the actual border that we've added. Now I'm going to do the same for the top as well, turning it round as I go. So I've cut the second one and again taken it through the Xyron machine just so I've got all over adhesive on the back of it. And I'm going to add this along the edge so it breaks the pink up and it just makes it look just a little bit different. So I'm going to trim that away like so. Now we can add the centre of our insert. So you see how that border just breaks up that bank of yellow from the background. Now for the centre, I've taken one of the smaller wreaths that I've cut out from the As Time Goes By paper. I've put it again through the Xyron machine. If you don't have a Xyron, don't worry, you could use wet glue, you could use flat tape, pop dots, you name it, you could use it. So I've just used the Xyron just for quickness on this really. So I can add that through the centre of my insert like so. Now I've also cut a circle of card from the collection, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to use one of the stickers and I'm going to add the sticker onto the cardstock because they've got the transparent background, and for this I didn't want a transparent background. Now I'm going to use the Laugh Often sticker. Now you see how easy that peeled off and it was out of a new pack. So I'm just going to add that to the circle that I've die cut, that I put through the Xyron. Can peel that away, and I'm going to add that just in the centre of the wreath and press that down. And that is the inside of our card finished. We've got enough room for our to and our from, and it just looks so great. It's going to match the outside perfectly. So now we can create the outside of our card. And I'm using my bone folder again just to make sure we've got that nice sharp crease on the side of our card. So I'm going to start off with two of the Believe in Magic, well, I'm saying two of them. It's two borders that I've cut from the Believe in Magic page, the pink stripe. I've got flat tape on the back of it, and I've cut them to approximately nearly 2 inches, and I'm adding them to the bottom of the card along the edge. We'll trim the overhang when we've done the other side. And I've also got one for the top of the page. Now, you could use any of your scraps to do this. This, I think, is a good idea for cards because it's something just that little bit different. So we've got a little bit of overhang. So I'm just going to turn that over and I'm going to snip that away. So I can snip down the edge of the card like that, and at the top as well. Let's get rid of that overhang. Oops, there we go, snip. So now we've got a stripe, lots of stripes really, at the top and the bottom of our page. And I've also taken one of the 8x8 papers. Now, I've used some of my 8x8 paper, and this is what I have remaining. So you can kind of say that I am using my scraps for this, quite literally. So I'm taking the flat tape away from it on the background. I'm going to marry it up, top and bottom, along one edge. Now I know I'm going to have overhang at the other side, so I can trim that away like we did the overhang from the borders. So I can simply just trim that and make it all nice and neat. There we go. And then that is the base of our card front. So instead of having a full panel, we've used sections of our papers. Now again, I've taken, as time goes by, and I've taken the borders, I've cut them out, and we're going to use the same principle that we used on the inside with our borders. Again, I've used the Xyron machine, and I'm going to just add the border over the edge where the two papers join. I'm going to do exactly the same for the top of the card. So I've only just turned it round just so I can see and reach it. And then we can add the border again from the edge, covering that join where the two papers are, and then I can trim the edge. Turn it round, trim the edge of both of them. There we go. And now press that down so it's firmly stuck. Oops, and stuck on me. There we go. So that's our border trim. So in the middle, I've taken one of the large wreaths. I've cut it away from the paper. I've got it on 3D foam on the back, and I'm simply just going to lay this on top of our card because I'm going to position it, and I want to be able to slot one of the sentiment panels just under and through it. So on this, I've got flat tape on one side and I've got 3D foam on the other. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift this side of the wreath and I'm going to position the sentiment on an angle and under one side. So I'm going to press that side down, and then this side is going onto the opposite side of the wreath. So I can press it all down. Now it's in position. Next, I've taken one of the embellishment tags, and it says life is better when you are laughing. I've put it on 3D foam and I'm going to position it just slightly to an angle underneath the card and over the bottom of the wreath. I can press that down. Now what I've done is I've got some paper flowers that I've made, and I'm going to add them to this section. I'm going to need a little bit of white glue because I've got some tiny flowers and I'm going to need wet glue for those. So I'll just squeeze a little bit out onto my wax paper, and then I can start adding some of the leaves that I've die cut already using the paper from the 8x8 collection. Now I've got these on 3D foam and I'm just adding them just around one corner. I'm not being particularly careful with them. However, I am going to want to position them so that I can add some paper curls that I've made. Now I'm just going to add the paper curls, add a little bit of glue to them so that they will stick. There we go. And I'm just going to add another one just to the other side. Now the way I've made my paper curls is simply by cutting a piece of scrap paper from the collection, and I wound it round and round and round the pokey tool until it gave me something that looked like that. Now I can add my larger flowers that I've created. Now these, I've die cut these, and I wanted them to look like the flowers that were actually on the pattern and tone in with everything there. I've created 3 of them, and I've just used some gems in the centre, so we can add those. And then there's the 3rd one that I'm adding just to the top, like so. And now I've created a few tiny little flowers that were from a palm punch, and I'm just going to add those for that little bit of extra colour just around where the paper curls and the leaves are. I've used the paper from the 8x8 collection and just added a little bit of pearl drops in the centre, and this will pick up the colours that run through the wreath and on the tag, and I think it just adds just that little touch of, I don't know, it makes it look like you've spent a lot of time creating it. So those are my little flowers. I think we'll just add one more just to one side, and then I'm going to just add a couple of gems to the actual flower sides, and there we go, just a couple to add a little bit of bling. I think we'll add 3, there we go, like so. And I'm going to finish it off with a bow. Now I'm going to cover this hole with the side of the bow, but I'm not covering the sentiment. So if we add that to one side like so, there we go. And that is our card finished. And that is such a pretty card. We've taken our time with our flowers. Simple punches and dies to make the flowers. There was no nothing special. Few palm punches for the tiny flowers. The paper curls, all from the Free Spirit collection, and that's our inside to match the outside. Stands up perfectly. Will definitely sit on a mantelpiece. And that is our first card tutorial for FabScraps, and we've used the Free Spirit collection. So in 2 weeks time there will be another tutorial, and we will be using the FabScraps collection of I can't say it. How funny is that? I'm going to have to work on that. Extravaganza. There we go. There we go. That's the next collection we're going to be looking at for Easter. I do hope you've enjoyed this. Please give me the thumbs up if you've enjoyed it. Let me know what you think. Don't forget, I can't reply back to you on YouTube because there's the situation with my account, but I can always get back to you on Facebook. I've really enjoyed this. I was very nervous with it being my first one for FabScraps, and I just hope you've enjoyed it. So I'd like to say thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you next time.